Sure, welcome back mates to the monthly favourites. I'm a bit late, but sure, look, we won't talk about that. This month has all been about movies and comic books because I haven't been able to afford anything other than that. I have no makeup to show you, but we'll get right into it. The first thing I want to show off is Spiderman Blue, which has to be probably one of my favourite things in the whole world right now. Peter Parker starts reminiscing about his good old life with Gwen on Valentine's night, and then he goes up to his attic and starts talking to the tape recorder, and it is the saddest thing ever. It just made me cry, and it was just so lovely. Just gotta read it. It's fucking beautiful. Let me show you some art. What picture will I show? So you have the classic, you just hit the jackpot. Some kissing. You should definitely read it because it's my favourite thing I've ever read in all my life. The next thing that I have been reading, I've not done it yet, I'm halfway through, but it's X-23, the Complete Collection Volume 1. So this comic is all about the origin of Laura, X-23. Her mum works in a lab, and while working on this experiment, she becomes pregnant. No, she doesn't become pregnant on Laura. Hang on. Something happens, and the guy basically forces her to give birth to Laura, and she watches Laura become basically a weapon, and she hates this, so she tries and comes up with a plan for them to escape and for her to become a normal girl.
I'll take your word for it.
It's great. You should read it. Let me show you a picture. Sure, there's Laura with her mummy. See it? Mm. There she is being the weapon. She's just being a wagon. I have been reading Slasher Girls and Monster Boys, a collection of short stories, all compiled by... The cover's beautiful. I absolutely love horror stories, and I love horror stories, and what I love about this book in particular is that each one is inspired by a movie, and you have to kind of guess what movie is based on and tells you the answer at the end. So it's like a little game while you're reading it. The Birds of Azalea Street is based on... Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I think it's based on The Birds. I was close. It's based on Rear Window and The Birds. And then the next story, In the Forest Dark and Deep, is based on Alice in Wonderland. So it's fun. Now some stories are better than others, and April writes one herself, which is really, really good. The very first one is brilliant, and there's a lot of tension in it, so give this book a chance. So a couple of records that I've listened to. Patrick bought me Beauty and the Beast. It's flawless. This one's very pretty, and it comes in blue.
Wow.
Very pretty. The soundtrack to this movie is great. The next record I've been listening to is Starboy by The Weeknd. I love The Weeknd so much. He is the best thing since sliced bread. This record is absolutely incredible. Like, that is just beautiful. And I think this one's red. It's red. So again, lovely presentation. And you can wear it as a hat. Couple of movies I've been watching on DVD. We only picked this up, I think, last week, and we haven't watched it, but I'm going to put it in anyway. So we picked up Logan on Blu-ray, but it's also the black and white edition as well. I can't wait to watch this.
Well, just to be clear, we've seen it.
We've seen it. I'm excited to watch it in black and white as well. My next Blu-ray is from Eureka, and it's Onibaba, the 1964 Japanese. Is it a horror? It's not really a horror. So this is based on a short Japanese legend that the director adapted for the feature film. The film is about violence, death, and a possible demonic presence. And there's a mask, or most possibly the creepiest mask in cinema.
Is it the one on the cover?
Yeah. The film's beautifully shot, and I'm going to show you a little clip because it's beautiful. I've watched quite a bit this month at home and in the cinema. The first being Rick and Morty on Netflix. What?
At home and in the cinema.
Me, Patrick and his brother binge watched the first 2 seasons on Netflix and it was just the best few hours of my life. Rick and Morty is perfect if you love cinema because there's so many references throughout the whole show. Anything with Jerry just makes me cry.
Oh, what the hell?
Fucking love Jerry. You should check it out because the third season's coming out. Few cinema releases for you. The first one that I want to mention is Dunkirk. Hasn't been my absolute favourite, but I feel like it does need a mention because in terms of filmmaking, technically it's incredible. Spiderman Homecoming has also been out this month and I can't even explain how much I love this movie. Tom Holland was the perfect Spider-Man and I can fight anybody who say otherwise. Patrick has an idea for Spider-Man Homecoming 2, but there's going to be some spoilers for Spider-Man Homecoming 1. Fucking click off.
The idea I had, what I think would make a really good Spider-Man Homecoming 2, or whatever they end up calling it, is to base it loosely on the idea behind Spider-Man Blue. Kevin Feige was saying that Spider-Man Homecoming 2 would be the first film in Phase 4 of the MCU, and that after everything that happens in Avengers Infinity War and whatever they end up calling Avengers 4, he described Spider-Man as being the kind of like the guiding hand that would lead you through into the new kind of era of Avengers films. So I was thinking that because Peter Parker is so young in Spider-Man Homecoming, that if you were to take the idea from Spider-Man Blue where he's kind of reminiscing about his life with Gwen Stacy, and it's a very sad emotional thing, and it's kind of told through him speaking into a tape recorder and it cuts back and forth through time. What I think would be really cool is that in Spider-Man Homecoming we see him make videos you know, with Happy and with Tony Stark, and you see him, you know, recording the fight in the airport from Civil War. So if you took the Spider-Man Blue story and got rid of Gwen and you got rid of the tape recorder and replaced it with videotapes, and instead of him accepting Gwen's death, it's him accepting the death of whoever dies during Avengers Infinity War and Avengers 4, because he is only a kid, how that's going to affect him, and it's his heroes that he has to watch die. And then as well as that, it's about him accepting the fact that he is now the leader of the new Avengers.
And it's going to be such a change from Spider-Man Homecoming because Spider-Man Homecoming was like a really cool, kind of chill, hangout movie. Yeah. So it would be really, really interesting to see them kind of change it.
Yeah, it would, because, I mean, Black Panther looks like something completely different.
Yeah.
You know, other than, you know, stylistically and, you know, with the whole, you know, the African kind of aesthetic to it. Other than that, and you've also got, you know, Thor Ragnarok, they just feel like new movies, new types of stories, new genres of film that they're talking about. So to do something like this would be really mature for the series.
It'd be really dark, but if they did it right.
To basically say this is not a bright, happy, funny film. This is a very sad film. And it does dwell on the people that we've lost, because one problem that I always have with the MCU is that no one has died yet, with the exception of, like, you know, Aaron Taylor Johnson's Quicksilver, and I have a feeling that they only killed him in Age of Ultron because they saw the Quicksilver in Days of Future Past and they were like, well, it's not that fucking good, so we may as well just get rid of him. And Aaron Taylor Johnson's busy, so let's just lose it. Who else has died?
Nobody. Ultron.
Oh yeah, well, he doesn't count.
You're one Peggy.
Oh yeah.
Do you want to stay and talk about War for Planet of the Apes?
No, I'm out of here.
This bet La La Land for me. Like, La La Land has been number 1 since January. And I was adamant, I was like, it's going to be number 1 of all time for me. I love La La Land to bits, but War better for me this year. Yeah,
like, Rise and Dawn are some of my favourite films, and going into this one, like, for like over a year, like, as soon as they announced that this one was going to be called War, I was like, oh, I was saying, going into it, I was saying to myself, if this is as good as the first two, it's going to be my favourite trilogy of all time, because beforehand, Toy Story was my favourite trilogy.
That's an amazing trilogy, and still is.
Toy Story is unbelievable. But the reason why the new rebooted Planet of the Apes trilogy is my favourite of all time is because they are all on the same level. I think War is the best one out of the 3, but I think they're all so close together. Not only in terms of quality, but in terms of, like, the type of movie that they are. Rise is very anarchic. It's like Rise is the perfect name for it. It's like get up and go, and it's like one push for freedom. And especially when you get to the assault on the bridge, it's like a 40-minute sequence. It's unbelievable. It's like half that film is an action set piece.
Dawn is so much darker.
Yeah, it's very somber and it's much slower.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't like the opening, what would you call it, text at the start.
Oh, the text scroll, yeah.
Did you see that? The scroll at the very start of War, where it goes from like Rise, Dawn, and War. I think it's just perfect.
Oh, yeah.
And War, to me, and you said it perfectly, you said it's like more like a Holocaust movie than anything. Like,
yeah,
it's
it is
so dark.
Because
and it's just incredible.
Yeah, because I always thought that Dawn was very Shakespearean. The whole like kind of the power struggle between the humans and the apes, and then the internal power struggles between the humans, and then when you get to the apes, it's like you've got the conflict between Caesar and Koba. And even though they both have motivations that make sense and you can understand them, it generates such volatile behaviour to the point where you do have Shakespearean betrayals and tragedies and all of that kind of stuff. So, and you get, it also gets it gets very political, and then when you get into War, like you said, it's like Schindler's List. It's like it is a Holocaust film. It's by far the most bleak, the most upsetting.
How it got a 12A rating. I had people coming into the cinema, and there was like a dad with his 2-year-old son, and I was like, you can't. I was like, I can't even explain how dark this movie is. And I kept telling people, I was like, there's so much death. Like, there's just one scene, I don't think this is going to spoil anything, where you see the apes hung up on the X's.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that is incredibly scary. But the movie itself is just, like, it's incredible.
Yeah, I came out of it and I was like, not only is that one of the best films I've seen all year, I think that it's an important film.
I was lucky enough to be invited to a premiere from my job, and we went to see Michael Inside. I don't know when it's going to be released. I don't think it's going to be released till next year. I'm not entirely sure. But it was made by Frank Berry, and he actually taught me in college. This is probably one of my favourite Irish movies. That and Sing Street. This movie is not really something that I would go for normally, but it's absolutely incredible. Basically follows a kid who gets, caught up in drug-related crime, and it's all about him going through the whole justice system, and there's lots of like scary moments, and like you literally feel tension throughout the whole movie.
My thing about Michael Inside, I have a video coming on it pretty soon, was how realistic it felt in its dialogue, in its story beats. And then the bit that I found funny was like, he goes into prison and he meets like some horrible people in there. He does.
I know what you're gonna say next though.
He meets some horrible people in there, and then there's another guy that comes along. I'm not going to say who plays him or what happens because I don't want to give anything away in the story, but he seems nice.
He seems so warm and welcoming.
Yeah, he comes along and he wants to help him out.
It's like he sees Michael and he's like, he's just a kid.
Yeah.
He got into some trouble outside. He does he's only small.
Yeah. It's like he's looking at Michael and he's saying, you're struggling in here.
Yeah.
And I need to kind of help you, like build yourself up, thicken your skin, get some backbone, and you need to be able to stand up to these people in here if you're going to survive in here. And you're like, oh shit. Maybe there are people in prison, who look out for you, and they're not too bad. Well, this guy turns out to be the worst one of all of them. And then
awful.
But that's when I realised that would be me. If I went to prison, I'd be that fucking Egypt that went, you know what? He's actually not too bad. And then all of a sudden my life would go to shit.
You'd become his bitch, like.
So I came out of that film and I was like, you know what? Never get caught doing anything dodgy, because I wouldn't do well in there. It's not me. Okay, see ya.
Life Hack. The Beguiled by Sofia Coppola. I absolutely love this movie. It was incredible. It was also adapted in 1974 by Clint Eastwood. The Beguiled. It's a really good, effective thriller. You can really feel the isolation of these women in the middle of nowhere during the Civil War, and it's beautifully shot.
And that's what you have to say about that.
Yeah, I suppose that's me July favourites done for the month. No, it's a bit late, but sure. I got a life outside YouTube. Thank you so much for watching my July favourites. I hope you liked it. I'm sorry there's no beauty products in it. I can't afford them right now. Let us know what movies you enjoyed this month. And yeah, we'll be seeing you next month. If you want to see some more, you can check out some of Patrick's stuff. He has some really good stuff up on the channel. But what would he know? And what would I know?